Hey guys, what's going on? Dr. Frank here, founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs. And in today's brief video, I want to tell you guys a few things that I wish I knew when I quit vaping, when I quit smoking, when I quit chewing tobacco. If I had known these things, it would have made quitting 1,000 times easier. Here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching, we help people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you find today's video helpful. Okay, tip number 1. Don't fear the withdrawals. There's two major realities about nicotine withdrawals. Reality number 1, you are already experiencing nicotine withdrawal on a daily basis. When you consume nicotine, it leaves your body in about 30 to 60 minutes. Your body starts to detox it. And the moment that starts to occur at that 30 to 60 minute mark, you start to enter a state of nicotine withdrawal. That leads to anxiety, that leads to agitation, that leads to, it can lead to depression, it can lead to irritability, and it leads to cravings. So every 30 to 60 minutes, right now, today, you're experiencing nicotine withdrawals. So if you've been thinking about quitting, but you're worried about the nicotine withdrawal, understand something. You're already experiencing nicotine withdrawal. The only way to end that vicious cycle is to fully quit. No one says that better than author Alan Carr. His book is in the description below, The Easy Way. I would highly recommend reading it. Okay, tip number 2, celebrate nicotine withdrawals. I know that sounds stupid, especially for a time where you're kind of suffering. And by suffering, it's minor. But celebrate it. Imagine nicotine withdrawal as all those nicotine receptors in your brain dying. This is actually the addiction dying. This is you escaping the addiction. Withdrawal is nothing more than addiction's last-ditch effort to try and suck you back in. So if you're experiencing nicotine withdrawal, that is a surefire symptom that you are winning. And when nicotine withdrawal peaks, somewhere on days 3 to 5, so after that first 72 hours, nicotine withdrawal usually peaks, addiction's going to try really hard to pull you back in because all of that nicotine is quite literally almost out of your body. Which brings me to my next point about withdrawals. They usually peak in the first 3 to 5 days. A lot of people, unfortunately, relapse before they get through those first 3 to 5 days. And little did they know that success might have been this close. It might have been right around the corner. So I wish I had known that about withdrawals. It would have made quitting a lot easier. Just reframe your mindset surrounding nicotine withdrawal. Tip number 2 that I wish I knew about nicotine addiction was that you don't need nicotine to quit nicotine. This is one of the biggest lies that we're constantly sold by big tobacco, by the vape industries, by Nicorette gum and other companies like that. You don't need nicotine to quit nicotine. You don't need the very drug that you're trying to quit it. And the reason for that is because it takes about 90 days for the nicotine receptors in your brain to die off. If you continue to feed those nicotine receptors nicotine, it's actually just going to prolong the cravings. It's going to prolong some of those inevitable withdrawal symptoms that you're going to experience when you stop using nicotine. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't work, and I'm not saying that you can't try it. But if you've tried it in the past, like I did a million times, what would happen is I'd just finish out my course of Nicorette, and then 2-3 weeks later, I'd go back to smoking, chewing, vaping, whatever form of nicotine it was I was using. I never gave my body a chance to let those nicotine receptors die off for the long haul. So you don't need nicotine to quit nicotine. My next tip, be patient with the process. A lot of people quit vaping, quit smoking, and they think, okay, I'm going to join a gym, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to journal, I'm going to change my diet around, and I'm going to feel better. The reality is, you're not going to instantaneously feel better, and that's okay. You're not supposed to instantaneously feel better. Your body has to take time to detox and heal. And often detoxing isn't the most pleasant experience in the world. It's a heck of a lot more pleasant than staying addicted to this substance for the rest of your life. If you're going to compare it to experiences in life, I think detox was enjoyable compared to my life suffering from active addiction to nicotine. I mean that sincerely. So don't get agitated if you don't feel great right away. That was a common reason that I would relapse, and there was no need to. I just had to be a little more patient. See, when we talk about side effects of nicotine addiction, we often talk about health consequences, but lack of patience is a big one, right? I had grown very impatient in my active nicotine addiction because I was constantly anxious because I wanted more nicotine. And then I would use nicotine and I would say, oh, this is calming me down. Oh, this is making me patient. And the reality is it wasn't. I was simply satisfying a craving, so I then had less anxiety and I had more perceived patience. See how nicotine addiction messes with your brain? Are you starting to get what I'm saying? My next tip when it comes to nicotine addiction would be ignoring the cravings. Cravings are only going to be a big of a deal as you make them. The more you try and negotiate a nicotine craving, the more you try and ride the wave of nicotine cravings, the greater your chances of getting swallowed by that wave are going to be. My mantra for dealing with cravings was very simple. There's a lot of things I can do today. I just can't do this. I just can't vape. I just can't smoke. I just can't watch adult media content, whatever it was. And I loved using that mantra because when we have a craving, we develop a mindset, when we have a nicotine craving, that there's nothing else going on. There's nothing else that matters. I have to feed my brain nicotine. This is life or death. And the reality is, in that moment, there's a lot of other options that you have. There's a lot of other things that you can go do. There's a lot of other ways that you can manage that craving. There's a lot of other things I can do today. I just can't do this. And I would recommend you write out a list of all those other things you can do so you can refer to it when those cravings hit. But don't make a big deal of them. And if at the very least, just ignore your cravings. They're useless. Just ignore them. They don't mean anything. Another tip that I have for you guys, realize that you're not giving anything up. You're not making a sacrifice. Again, a lot of people say to me, well, Dr. Frank, I'm giving up the buzz. I'm giving up the head rush. I'm giving up that feeling of nicotine. I want to explain to you, that's the worst feeling in the world. It's the most damaging feeling in the world. Because when you wake up in the morning and you chase that buzz, you chase that head rush, you're inevitably not going to go after your goals. You're not going to go after your ambitions. You're not going to go after your hobbies. Because you have to chase those other things in life that will eventually produce dopamine and produce a sense of joy. But if you're waking up first thing in the morning or throughout the day and chasing a buzz from a drug, from nicotine, eventually those other things are going to fall by the wayside. So realize something. Quitting is about what you're gaining back. It's not about what you're giving up. So right here in this conversation, we went from fearing withdrawals to celebrating withdrawals. We went from depriving ourselves of something to realizing that we're about to gain a lot of things back in life. We're not giving anything up. Don't quit for health reasons. Unless you're currently facing a health crisis, which I would still argue don't quit for health reasons, don't do it. A lot of people develop nicotine addiction, myself included, when you're a lot younger. And typically you don't feel the health consequences until a few years in, until a few years later on. Although I am seeing that be a little different with some of these vapes. I don't know what that's all about. I think it has to do with the black market products. Anyways, don't quit for health reasons. Quit because you want to value your time. Quit because you want to value your focus, right? Do you really want to spend another day, another week, another year, another month focused on this addiction? Like, think about how much brain power this addiction is requiring of you, how much brain power it's sucking out of you. Imagine all the amazing things you could be doing if you took that level of drive and focus that you have for nicotine and put it towards something productive. Put it into an investment that's going to give you something in return for your time, your energy, and your hard work. That brings me to my next point. Don't quit because you want to save more money. Quit because you want to invest your money, your time, and your effort into something that's going to give you a return on your investment. Are you going to put that $20 a week into stocks? Are you going to put it towards video equipment to start your own YouTube channel? Are you going to put it towards, taking someone out on a date that you really love and appreciate so you can deepen that relationship. It's not about the 20 bucks. It's about all of the time and effort and grind and grit that you've put in to get that job, to make that 20 bucks. It's about the education or the work ethic that you've developed to make that money. It's a lot more than $20 that this is costing you. And it's very important that you realize that. Another thing I wish I had learned when I quit vaping, when I quit smoking, was not to make a big deal about relapse, but I say that with a caveat. I viewed relapse as a normal part of addiction because it is. It is. But that, to me, became a point of justification. I could now justify my episodes of relapse or my episodes of use. It wasn't until I took full responsibility and said, relapse is 100% unacceptable 100% of the time, no matter what life throws at me. I could have some horribly tragic event occur, and I don't care. Nicotine is not an option. There's a lot of other ways I can go cope with that, but nicotine is not an option. And I wish I would have approached relapse with that mindset from the beginning. Now, if you're watching this and you have relapsed a bunch of times, realize something. If you lost 50 pounds and gained 10 pounds back, did you still make progress? Of course you did. Of course you made progress. So don't beat yourself up over it. A few weeks ago, relapse might have not even been a word in your vocabulary because thinking about quitting wasn't even on your future horizon, your future plans. So you're making progress, even if you've relapsed up to this point. But today, let me know in the comments, right? Relapse is unacceptable because, and then write the reasons why you want to hold yourself accountable. My last tip, and probably my most important one when quitting nicotine, is start right now. Stop lying to yourself. I can't tell you guys how many times I told myself, I'm going to quit next week. I'm going to quit next month. I'm going to quit after I get this new job, after I get this new relationship, after I make this much money. There was constantly an excuse. There was constantly an excuse as to why I wasn't quitting nicotine. Right now, today, right now, at this very moment, you have an opportunity to quit. You have an opportunity to be done with this addiction, to be free for good for the rest of your life and never have to worry about this again. But you have to commit to it. You have to stop lying to yourself. Call out the lies that addictive voice is constantly telling you. Today's the day. Type it in the comments. Let me know the date and the time, and check back in 3 days from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, and let me know how your life has changed since you've quit. I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it makes a difference. I wish I had known these things. It would have made quitting a lot easier. If you need extra help, we are now offering group coaching here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching. So feel free to check out the description below for details on how to contact us about that. Follow me into the next video where I talk about managing nicotine cravings. I'll see you guys then.